Well, I just completed a stream about Star Frontiers. But during it, I went on a slight rant, and I had somebody leave a message to me that I didn't see until after the stream was over. I just seen it just now. And he's like, you can't do that rant in the middle of a Star Frontier stream. You got to make a video about it. And I'm like, well, dude, before I end the night, maybe I'll do exactly that. Let's talk about tropes. Repeated things. I hear a lot of complaints about tropes in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. And it confuses me. I don't understand why. Tropes are something people get sick of when it comes to stories. Because it's a repeated thing, and it's done over and over again to the point of boredom. But in a tabletop role-playing game, tropes aren't a problem. They're a benefit. They're good to us. They're not something we criticize because, well, you're not watching a movie here. You're not reading a book. You're playing a game. And whatever we do is to create a fun experience for the players. And it's not exactly what is happening, it's what they're doing. It's how they involve themselves in a scene or in the game, right? It's how they take it in, and it's how they interact with it. I hear complaints about the tropes of people starting at the inn or at the tavern all the time. Oh, you're always sitting at that table. I'm like, well, that's a complaint if you're watching a show where they're always sitting there. Or they do that at the start of a lot of different movies or books. That's a trope in a bad way. But in a game, what is it doing? It's giving a calm place for player characters to be sitting there, for players to be able to interact, talk to the other people, get used to the new characters, be introduced to each other, and go through a certain phase where it's a comfortable place to do it. It's an easy place to start because you want players to start talking in character. And it's just, right out of the gate, it allows players to start playing the game right away. Doing that over and over again is not an issue. And most old school DMs realized it. You'd be like, well, why do we always start at the thing if you were someone criticizing it? Be like, well, when you start at the thing and you're talking to each other, are you having a good time? Yeah. What about the next time? Are you do it again? You're sitting there, you're talking to player characters. Are you good? Yeah. If I do it a third time, you're not going to talk to each other? Well, no, we're going to talk to each other. And you enjoy that, right? Yeah. Then what the fuck is the problem? Tropes are not an issue for us. Right? Only if they don't work. Only if they really do lead to boredom. But boredom isn't the idea. It's when you play it, what's it like? And you can go add a trope in a million different ways. I can give you a variety of different ends. There's some weird characters this one. Might be calm the next one. These things don't matter. When I hear people in the tabletop role-playing game hobby complain about tropes, I'm like, I know when you call yourself storytellers, you have a certain mindset, but has it really damaged your head? Like, tropes are okay. And tropes are going to happen if you want to talk about repeatability. The dungeon is a trope, isn't it? Playing a fighter character is a trope. What isn't a trope if you want to look at tropes? What isn't a trope in any game? Almost every game, there's some form of repeating. Forget the inn. Oh, you're going to the adventure to the city. Trope. You're going into the forest. Trope. You're going to fight a goblin. Trope. Tropes aren't an issue for us at all, and we continuously use them in ways that people don't even consider. They'll consider the trope at the end, but I'm like, well, what about the campfire? Well, that's cool. That's a trope. Trope as in, it's a repeated thing that happens all the time. You're doing it, and you might say, well, it'd be cool if we didn't do tropes. Well then, okay, you don't want to go into the woods? Well, I do, but you don't want to do tropes. We do the woods all the time. Well, okay, what about the dungeon? Well, come on, I want to do a dungeon. No, it's a trope. What are we doing in most games that aren't tropes to the game itself? I talked about Star Frontiers. Yeah, you can have fun with it every time you're playing. But you're going to be doing similar things. Spaceship combat. After a while, it's a trope. But what are you telling me you don't want to do it? Right? Of course you want to do it. So why only judge the inn scene as a problem trope? The campfire is a problem trope. Everything is a trope. Playing a wizard is a trope. So the idea that a trope is an issue for us in the tabletop role-playing game hobby is it's an insane thing. It's people don't, I think, realize, because they hear tropes are bad, but then they apply that idea to the gaming thing. I'm like, no, tropes are bad in storytelling to a degree, but not here. And I'm not saying they're always bad in storytelling. It's just you don't want to repeat them too frequently. It's nice to refresh a trope after a while. But in gaming is all about tropes. The entire game is made up of tropes. You know, every time I've talked to people in the past about this, and they're like, man, I don't like the trope of the starting at the end. I'm like, you must hate going into the dungeon. And they got to stop and think. Oh, it's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment when I say something like that. Well, I guess you don't want to go in the dungeon then. Because if you have an issue with tropes, no dungeon. And it's a eureka moment, right? It's like, they even do stuff like this, like, think for a second. Wait, I know they're cluing in. I'm right. Like, they're cluing into, like, shit, it is a trope. Yeah, it is a trope. But do you got a problem with doing it? No. What about the campfire, dude? No more campfires? And then they'll stop and think. Oh. That's a trope. Do you got a problem with it? No. Then do you got a problem with tropes? Like, our entire experience requires tropes. Tropes are not the enemy of what we do. In the tabletop role-playing game hobby, tropes are our best fucking friends. All these different tropes that are going on, they're all fucking great. And the tropes we continue to use, the things that become tropes, there's a reason they're tropes. They work. We give you the scene, you play it out, and you have fun in the scene. That's why you're repeatedly doing it, because you understand how to do it, you can have fun doing it, and even when you do unique things that are somewhat new, there's going to be tropes surrounding that thing that you're doing anyway. And sooner or later, that new thing, guess what happens? It becomes a trope. And then what? At what point do you say, okay, tropes are a problem? I'm like, all right, give me your D&D books. Why? Well, you don't want to play, right? What do you mean? I'm like, so you want to avoid tropes, right? Yeah. Okay, you want to go play video games? What do you mean, Steven? Why would I want to do that? Well, if you're going to avoid tropes, you can't really play these games. I mean, none of them. And yeah, maybe your first experience is non-tropey if you haven't experienced certain things. But what? You play it 5 times? Tropes! And there's not a lot to do to replace the tropes, because why do they become tropes in D&D, for example? Well, because we do a variety of things and some things are boring. So if that thing is boring, it doesn't become a trope. You get it? It's the stuff you won't like doesn't become a trope. Ironically, the stuff you like becomes the tropes. So, I just got to tell people in the tabletop role-playing game hobby, could we stop complaining as if tropes are an issue for what we do? They are our best friends in the hobby. And we've been doing tropes forever. That's what tropes are. But they work for us. Look, you might not want to watch 50 movies about saving the princess. I get it. And by people doing it that many times, it becomes the trope. It's over and over and over again. It's like, yeah, they've done that, saved the princess a million times. But in a tabletop role-playing game, here, we got a monkey over here. You can go save the monkey. And I could probably do 10 adventures with you saving monkeys. And the only way that goes away is if it's not fun. If I do it, it's fun. I do it again, and what you're going to find out is, once you find out an activity is fun, it can repeatedly be fun. And if you say you're tired of it, sometimes I find guys poison their own minds. Because they'll judge a trope like it's a bad thing, and then instead of just trying to play the game, they'll be sitting there, well, I'm bored because we're in the trope thing. Dude, could you do me a favor? Yeah. I know you have poisoned your mind. You have confused that tropes are a problem for us. Even though you're just taking people that like stories and you're hearing their complaints and you're adapting it to here. You're somewhat trying to look at our tropes the same way they look at tropes in their world. Its tropes are bad there, but here you are, and let me guess, dude, you're going to sit down at the table, I start at the end, and you're going to be like, yeah, I don't know what it is, it's a trope. Dude, could you do me a favor? Play the fucking game. So what is your job at this point? You have a chance to talk to other characters with your character and interact. Focus on that, and you'll notice the idea that you're in a trope doesn't matter. The second you just go, yeah, I don't care if we start at the end again. Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? And you start talking to the other player characters, you'll notice you're just having fun. The second you come in with a view like, man, I heard tropes suck. Yeah, from someone who reads fucking stories and watches movies. I get why, but don't let that bother you. Tropes are our best friends. So, be happy. Start at the fucking end. Or what, do you want me to walk you down the road? Where, do you want to start with a pole up your ass? Now look, there's nothing wrong with starting in combat, but they'll be like, man, I'll hear a player go, man, I like it when they like start us in action or something. But that's, you think the end is the only thing people have done repeated times? You think, is that what you think? That the end is the only repeated thing? No, running away from something is a trope. We've done it a million times in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. Starting in action is a trope. Done a million times in the tabletop role-playing game hobby. What about on the boat, at sea, in the middle of a fight? With some water thing coming up on your boat. Trope, it's been done multiple times. Over and over again. You forget how many millions of people globally are in this hobby. Do you know how many different things have been tried, repeated? We've had this hobby for over 50 years. So you think the end starting is the only thing we've repeated? Every time I hear what sounds, they'll say, oh, here's my DM started the game unique. I'll be like, all right, tell me how. Oh man, we were like running down this and we had to stick up our bums and I think the action was on. Okay, that's been done about 3 million times? Oh. Like, dude, there's almost, you might be some unique but most of even the elements amongst the most unique things I've ever heard. The elements are sort of tropey. It's like, hey, yeah, this just sounds a little different, but it's sort of similar to this other thing. So in a way, it's tropey. It's not too far off. It's pretty much, we've done that a million times. So stop having an issue with tropes. Look, if you try to play a game, and that's all your job as a player, it's not to sit there and cry and moan and get in a bad mood. You show up with your energy, you play a game. If once you start playing the game, you're unhappy, like you try without the critical mind, and you still can't have fun even though you're not being critical, then there's a real issue for you to have a problem with. Then that's an issue, right? But if you start the game and you try without worrying about trope, and you're having fun with the people you're playing the game with, that's it. It's only in the moment that you try without criticism, without the critical mind, and you can't get there even without that, without even caring about the trope, then you got a problem. Then it's something to go. Then you could even say, I don't got a problem with the trope, but this is boring. And it isn't automatically boring because you're starting at an end. There will be other elements, I guarantee it. When you try, all that shit goes away. So, remember, to us in the gaming hobby here, Tropes are a good thing. Stop pretending that what we do is the same as somebody who watches movies or reads books. That's different entertainment. And tropes in that world is a bad thing. But don't confuse and think that somehow we're supposed to look at tropes in a bad way, because our entire experience is created and depends on tropes. Okay. There you go. I love you. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow sometime. I hope you like the Star Frontiers. Like I said, I'm doing these sort of written down things where I'm doing stuff like that. But I will make sure to mix in some streams about gaming where it's not going to be the fact-based stream. It's going to be casual talk with you guys if you want to come across and just talk about some gaming topics. So there'll be some topics I'm covering where it's not going into that, big listed research thing. It's just because I know some people just want to casually talk. And some of these things I'm doing, a lot of people that are checking it out don't know about them and they don't know what to say. And they've told me that in private. So, I get it. Some of those you might want to just come along, drink your tea or your coffee, knit, paint your miniature, do whatever you're doing. Drive. If you're driving, you can listen to one of these. I hope you enjoy those streams for that, because I'm trying to give you some details that I think are interesting. It's definitely easier to take some of that in when you're just doing another activity, right? But I know people want to do a little bit more interacting with me, so I want to bring up some streams where it's stuff people know, like go after stuff that we can just talk about. And so I'll mix them in during the year. Actually, I'll have one coming up soon, so I'll be doing an update on the streams, and you guys will then see what streams I'm going to be doing casual. We'll call them casual streams, where it's all about just interacting with you guys and having fun, right? Because I know I did a lot of these fact-based things, but I was trying to sit down groundwork for that. And I had done enough opinionated stuff before that, so I wanted to just have a period of time of banging out these factual things and really getting them out. And I did some interviews, so I hope there was some good casual time with those. But just for some one-on-one casual time, you guys and me type of thing, let's do it, right? Let's do it. Okay, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.